Decorated American Army lieutenant seeking his freedom this morning. In 2012, as three men approached his platoon on motorcycles, Lieutenant Clint Lawrence gave the order to open fire and engage them. Two of the three men were killed. The Army said they didn't have ties to terror at his court-martialing, so Lieutenant Lawrence went to prison to serve a 20-year sentence. But now his lawyers are seeking clemency and accusing Army lawyers of withholding crucial evidence of the men's terror connections. Joining us right now is Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson Jr. and Anna Lawrence, Lieutenant Lawrence's mother, who is leading the fight for his freedom. Anna, thanks for joining us today from Dallas. Anna, when did you find out that apparently the government withheld some information at his court-martialing?
That was the 1st of November.
Okay. And the information is that while the government had presented these to be just three guys on one motorcycle driving at a high rate of speed at his platoon, and he instructed his men to open fire because they posed a danger. As it turns out, they have ties to terror, don't they?
That's how it appears. We have the paperwork. We filed the paperwork on November the 30th with the information stating those facts, and we have still heard nothing.
Okay. Peter?
You know, and in reading the paperwork here, it seems that the Army withheld an awful lot of evidence in terms of terror ties, in terms of the witnesses, in terms of intelligence. In fact, according to Colonel Marr, your lawyer, at least 10 different government databases showed that the people who were involved with this potential attack had terror ties. How does that make you feel this morning, Anna, that your son is serving 20 years in Leavenworth prison for a crime that he may not have committed?
It's heartbreaking, to say the least. My son has been grieving because even though he did what he felt he had to do, and he said if he was in the same situation, he'd do it again. He chose to protect his troops. However, you know, he's been being told that it was civilians, and we find out that it actually was not, and the Army knew this at the court-martial.
Peter, do you have any, you're a lawyer, you look at this stuff all the time. Do you have any idea why the Army would have withheld this information, that apparently these guys who were rushing at the platoon on this motorcycle, and they were presumed to be scouts for the bad guys,
absolutely.
Why would they withhold that?
That's the best question today. There is no evidence at this point as to why it happened. We don't know if it was pressure from the Afghani government or whether it was a prosecutor gone rogue, but General Richard Clark, who's the head of the 82nd Airborne, the decorated, incredible officer, he has the opportunity to reverse this in what's called clemency. So what I would ask you this morning, Anna, your son on his 18th birthday, in the wake of the 9/11 tragedy, decided he wanted to enlist in the Army, and that's what he wanted to do with his life. What would you say to General Clark this morning about what he can do to do justice in this case? Imagine that he is sitting right there in front of you. What would you say to General Clark?
I would ask him, General Clark, you too have a son. Will you please look at all of this evidence? Look at all of my son's credits in the military. Look at his career. And with your heart, please do the right thing. We have the evidence. You have the evidence in your hands that the jury did not have. I know you to be a loyal man and a true man to your soldiers of the 82nd Airborne. My son, too, was a soldier in the 82nd Airborne. He's your soldier. And I asked you to please do the right thing and release my son and let him come home.
Well, Anna, I have read all about your son. He sounds like a great kid, and he was a great member of the U.S. military. He would not be in prison today if he wasn't doing his job for the Army.
That is correct. Clint was a young man that never give us 1 ounce of trouble. He always was focused on his tomorrows. And Clint is a young man that would have never seen the inside of a jail cell had he not chose to serve his country, and that is sad.
It is sad. Well, let's see what Brigadier General Richard Clark of the 82nd Airborne Division does, because he's the guy who decides whether or not this court-martial stands, or he could grant him clemency, and that would be a fantastic thing.
And I'm hoping and believing and praying that he will do that. Based on the evidence that I've seen, Anna, we're going to stay on this.
We really appreciate it. Our family is praying that the general will do the right thing.
All right. Anna Lawrence, we thank you very much. And Peter Johnson, Jr., who I know will stay on this. Peter, thank you
Absolutely.
very much. All right. Let us know what you think about this story. Email us, friends@foxnews.com.